why haven't you starred in a sports movie? What's
Well,
going on there?
So we have this movie King Richard that's coming out. Just played a Telluride, which is about Serena.
Oh, I heard that's unbelievable.
It's great, man. I'm so proud of it. This director, Ronaldo Marcus Green, he came with me to do this HBO series I'm doing now. Man, I think this movie is just it's so beautifully done, and every aspect of it was right. I really feel like we got the tennis right. I'm telling you right now, Will Smith is gonna just blow everybody away in this role, but really everybody. I think the work is so beautiful across the board, and that's very much a sports movie. But look, playing baseball in college, I played football as a boxer. It's really got to be right. I mean, I've had these kind of opportunities to do it, but to me, it's just like when I'm doing the Punisher. They've got to get the guns right. Like they got to get the training right. When we're doing King Richard, you got to get the tennis right. That you really need. But if you go into something like that, you've got to make sure you're putting yourself into a situation where there's going to be enough time, energy, and money spent on really getting those aspects of it right. Because I have no interest in doing a baseball movie if you're not going to get the baseball right. And I know I can kind of cover my end on that, but we got to do that across the board. So I would love to do it. It's just got to be the right one.
What was your baseball position?
Catcher.
Yeah, there hasn't been a really good baseball movie in a while.
In a long time. We need one, man. And
the boxing happens over and over again. There's only been a couple MMA movies. I thought the one with Tom Hardy was really
Warrior.
Good. Yeah, Warrior was excellent.
Incredible. And Gavin also made Miracle.
Yep.
So he really gets the sport. He was an athlete. He played football at Penn. He's a super close friend.
Don't you feel like we're kind of graduating past sports movies? Because I noticed this with the Way Back, which I really liked, the Affleck movie.
Yeah,
where it was like basketball, but it was like it was a movie about that character, and basketball's in it, but not in the way like 40 years ago. The team wins in the last scene and he's fine. Totally. It was more like this character study. And I almost feel like that's where this shit's going now.
I agree, man. And that's Gavin, by the way, too. He made that movie as well. I think that's right. I think just people are really getting tired of predictability. I think kind of like the biopic movie, like that, it's just like not working anymore. I think predictability, there's just so much content to choose from, and
Ford versus Ferrari flipped it a little bit with how that ended. I really like that movie, by the way. I thought that was excellent. Beautiful. You're in that too. You play
like James
Coca.
Single, man. Like you get these filmmakers, like he's just like, that guy cannot do it wrong. He's a genius, and he did it analog. There's no green screen in that movie. He did it kind of for real. But there was some talk baseball wise about doing there's a Bob Ross. There've been some talk. There was like a Yogi Berra thing floating around that I was considering. It's just it's tough. I think with the boxing, my only beef with the boxing thing, and I do get offers all the time for boxing.
There's too many of them.
Too many. And by the way, man, a sport that's 90%. Black and Hispanic, it's like we can't do another movie about a white fighter. It's like there are no white fighters anymore. I mean, there's so few of us. It's like MMA maybe, but it's just like enough's enough with that,
If I was your manager,
talk to me, man.
I would try to go find, I feel like it could be an MMA. Mm-hmm. You're like a 5-time champ.
Okay.
Now you're older.
Yep.
You should probably hang it up.
Yep.
It's a young man's game now.
That's right.
But there's a lot of money at stake. Somebody's calling you out. I mean, like all the basic premises of it. And it's like, you kind of probably shouldn't take this fight, but you have to. And there's some reasons for it. And we just dive deep into like you basically getting roped into this fight you probably shouldn't take. Because I always notice that with MMA, it's always 3 fights too many for all these guys.
Yeah.
And yet for some reason, they can't pull away from it.
And of course we know the reason, you know what I mean? And it's, we can all put ourselves, I mean, nobody's ready to hang up the gloves in anything that we do. It's just that one, the sort of the consequences and the circumstances of it are much more in your face and have much more kind of palatable and immediate, impact on you. But I feel like everybody goes through that and nobody really wants to, and that's the kind of thing for me in doing this, what I love and I'm excited about with this is, I really want to be doing this the rest of my life. And I don't care in what capacity. I don't care if I'm on stage in DC. I don't care if I'm doing dinner theater. And when I say that, like, I'm not bullshitting. Like I really just, I love doing this. And if I can keep doing this all the way through. That's really the dream. And I feel like
listen. That's all noble and great, but you have a sports movie window here. How old are you now? What's it?
I'm 43.
Yeah, you got like 5 years left, and then you're going to be like Redford in The Natural, where they're going to have to be shooting you with shadows and like shoot shots to hide how old you are. You have your windows now.
Let's go. I think the baseball movie is the answer. Like, we just need, like, I love that sport. We need a good baseball movie. It's like, what is the story?
What if American Gigolo? What if he was a semi-pro baseball player too? You squeeze that in.
You're gonna see when that show comes up. I did squeeze. I fought like hell, man. I got this whole basketball component in there because I'll be honest with you, man. I like to pride myself. I'm a pretty well-rounded. I play a lot of sports. My little brother played basketball at Princeton. I played college basketball. We have a lot of different from different sports, but I did get a bunch of really good basketball scenes into that show where we're actually playing, you actually see the game going. And so I'm hoping that kind of basketball metaphor will kind of go, cut all the way through the series.
That's what Sandler did with Grown Ups. He just basically, it was an excuse for him to just kick everybody else's ass in a playground game. All his friends who couldn't play. Yeah, there's some frustrated baseball athlete actors, because John Hamm, who I know, he's a good baseball player, and it was always like, we did $1 Million Arm, but he didn't really get to play that much baseball in it. But I think there's these guys who is like, if it was ever the right baseball movie, I think there would be a bunch of people who could pop on.
But the problem with that too, Bill, like, you cannot hide bad baseball in a movie. Like, if you see somebody who can't throw a ball.
How about Field of Dreams? The dad at the end of Field of Dreams.
Dude. Can't have that. Costner's like great, and Costner ate that shit up. He was like doing baseball movie after baseball. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I could do that. And, I was supposed to be in 42. I'm the director of 42. And I basically told him, I was like, look, man. And, I was it was probably a stupid, cocky thing to say, but I was like, I'm definitely the best baseball player who's auditioning for this movie. Like, if you don't give me this part, you're basically saying I'm the shittiest actor in Hollywood, because there's no way someone can play baseball better than me. And sure enough, I got the part. We were doing but then I had to leave that movie because I can't remember whether it was Fury, but I just got something else came through that I had already seen. And, but like, I just think it's so hard to hide a bad arm. And what is shocking is how many people cannot throw. Like, that always shocks me. That, like, how did you get through life not learning how to throw a ball? Like, it's like unbelievable. And there's a lot of actors who can't. And you can teach somebody how to throw a punch, but if you didn't grow up throwing a ball, it looks terrible and it will never work.
Yeah, I remember our guy Tom Cruise, who is really good as an athlete in a lot of different things. Great runner.
Great runner, yep.
Mastered billiards, did all these things, but then he had to throw a baseball in War of the Worlds, and it was like, wow, we should have CGI'd this.
What's going on?
What happened? Some people, they just never ended up doing it,
You just can't do it. What's your favorite baseball movie?
I mean, it's probably The Natural still.
Yeah.
But I love Bad News Bears and Breaking Training. Yeah. I love Hardball. I love all baseball movies. I really do.
I thought
What about you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like, obviously The Natural as well, but I kind of feel like as baseball goes, like, quality of baseball in a movie, I really got to put Major League up there at the top. Like, I really think that, like, there was no one in that movie. Even people had, like, I forget the actor's name, but like the pitcher was putting like snot and stuff on the ball, like the old
Eddie Harris.
Yeah, dude. Like the way that he. Even though his throw, I still believe that guy was a pitcher. Like, he had a weird kind of Corbin Burnson, like the way he fielded the balls. Like, I just bought that. Like, everybody's baseball was on point, and Sheen was like, I mean, his pitching was completely on point. He looked
like a reliever now who would come in and throw 98.
Totally.
You know what's a really good baseball movie that unfortunately doesn't have enough baseball in it? Was For Love of the Game. It gets sunk by all this rom-com stuff, but the actual baseball in it's really good. I think Costner's believable too.
Costner's great, man. I mean, I think Costner's great. I mean, he's great in everything that he does, but I just, it's a sad state of affairs. And it's also, I think, you've got like the majority of actors now that are doing, movies and TV are from Australia and from England. And it's not something that they do.
Get them out of here. Yeah, listen, this is one of my all-time passions. Is any column I've ever written about sports movie, any podcast we've ever done about a movie, the authenticity thing, it drives me nuts. Like the fact that Jimmy Chitwood's jump shot looked like an awesome jump shot and was totally believable that this guy was like, the guy.
Beautiful.
He had to have a great jump shot. But yeah, they'll cheat with it.
What about White Men Can't Jump? Tell me your basketball. How do you rate the basketball in White Men Can't Jump?
So Woody's fantastic.
Fantastic.
You could tell Woody played.
I played with him a bunch back in the day. He plays just like that. And he is all grit. He is exactly who you would think he is on the court. Like, that's how we became friends. He actually plays the game. And what about Wesley?
Really rough. We did a rewatchables pod about it, and it was clear the super high dribble. To me, it's like it really hurts the movie, and I'm a little more down on it than others, and I really like that movie, but I just can't believe. See, I think he's actually a good athlete. Like, he's believable in Major League. He's believable in the other ones, but it was clear that he hadn't played that much basketball. And then you read up the research on it, and he didn't play basketball, so he kind of figured it out.
Dancing and martial arts and stuff like that, just like what you said, great athlete. But there's certain things with those, you're better off. And look, he's great in that part, and he's a phenomenal.
He's great
in that part, and he understands. Here's the thing that I'll give him on that as well. Whereas I agree with you a little bit on the basketball quality, his shit talking is the highest level. I mean, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's some good ones, like in Above the Rim.
Yep.
The guy Leon comes in, who's the guy who's practicing by himself.
Yeah.
But then he comes in the real game and he's just money from 17 feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that guy's clearly played. Like, you can see it. And then they used an actual Georgetown player as the lead. So I always appreciate when they do that. But yeah, sometimes they'll cut corners with this stuff. And Bad News Bears breaking training too, which I still stand by. The dad, William Devane, and he's hitting the grounders for the kids. It's like, this guy played. He's like banging them around. So, it comes and goes.
And I'll say in King Richard, you'll see, we actually got really lucky because we shut down. I'd never played tennis before, and that was my thing. Like, how am I I played this sort of famous tennis coach, Rick Macy, and they happened to have this kind of tennis academy here in my town. And so I was there 6 hours a day with 3 different coaches, just playing nonstop. Now I love the game. It's something I never played before. But then with the pandemic, we got 6 months of shutdown where I just kept training every day. And it wasn't even training to play, but training on how to coach and just how to speak to them, but also just how many balls you hold with this hand, how to feed lobs, how to make them run, how to get their feet going, what kind of coaching you do. And they really, one of the producers of that movie was a tennis player. And I think you're going to be really, really pleased with the tennis in that movie, with both how much work the girls did and how much sort of like the way that they were able to manipulate and use stunt doubles in that. It's like the tennis is top notch.
Well, that's the thing with sports movies now is we have the technology.
That's right.
That nobody should ever not look believable in a sports movie anymore.
Dude, if it goes bad now, like, what are you doing?
They can basically make anything happen. Well, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all this stuff. I think the next couple of years, that's why I wanted to get you now, because I think you're going to like go up a level and then you'll like be too cool for the podcast. So I had to get you. I had to get you at when American Gigolo, and there's the semi-pro baseball spinoff of American Gigolo, and you're on 2 shows at the same time. Congrats on everything, though. This is great. I really look forward to seeing the Sopranos movie, too.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you having me, brother. I really do.
All right. Thanks.